Hi there. I recently spent about a full month looking at 9 different seat cushions for use on my chair here. And after going through that process, I wanted to share with you my advice for how to go about choosing the right seat cushion for you. I think one thing I really learned through this process is that which seat cushion is going to work for you is probably a very personal thing. It's going to depend on, number one, what office chair you're using. And number two, your particular kind of body, how tall you are, how heavy you are, how wide your hips are. So I wanted to provide some guidance on how to think through this process, not making any specific recommendations in this video for any specific cushion, but just how to go to attack that problem, because it's a very hard product to pick just based on looking at things online. So the things I want to talk about are just the factors I'd recommend you consider. And actually, the number one factor I would recommend you consider is, how is the cushion going to fit on your chair? How much of that surface area is it going to cover? And I think one thing that really surprised me is that it's very important that the seat cushion cover as much of that surface area as possible. Because any of the surface area it doesn't cover means that there's less surface in contact with your thighs, which means you're not distributing the weight as much. So I have this, for example, large Aeron chair, a size C, which is the larger size because I'm a bit taller. And a lot of the traditional cushions, they're only maybe 16 inches deep, but this thing is about 20 inches deep, 21 maybe. So that's a real miss. And so when you're shopping for a cushion, really look at the dimensions of your office chair's seat and try to find one that's going to fill that up as much as possible, because that means that when you sit on it, it's going to spread out that surface area on your thighs. So that's number one. Number two is look. I wasn't sure going into it, but these days, especially COVID times, we have desk chairs in our living rooms a lot of the time. These are things that are around us all the time. And I think it's okay to care about the look. And I think it's okay to think about, do I think this thing looks ugly or tacky? Does it bother me that it has a big logo on it? You can be a little bit picky there, but obviously it should be a less important factor, but you can go ahead and consider it. The third factor I think to really take a look at is quality. So there's a wide range of prices and quality levels on these cushions. You can glean a bit of it by looking at the customer reviews, see how many folks have actually returned the cushion because it broke. One thing I noticed is that a lot of the generics and the knockoffs on Amazon have really cheap cases with really thin zippers that look like they might break. So I don't think it's necessarily a deal breaker, but try to glean what you can about the quality of these cushions. I know some of the reviews I've posted, I'm certainly weighing in on the quality, so that's one source for you. But that's the third factor. And then the fourth factor, I don't know why it's number 4, I'm sure the most important, is the comfort. And I think that unfortunately the reality is that you're going to probably want to try at least a couple. I think it's a little bit hard to predict by looking at an online reviewer like me how a particular cushion is gonna feel for you. But there are a couple of things I think you might be able to anticipate. So number one is, how important is it for the cushion to keep you cool? So I think some of us are working in hot environments where we don't have air conditioning, or we're just particularly sensitive to heat. Maybe that's why you bought a chair like the Aeron chair. If you know that about yourself, you shouldn't bother trying a memory foam cushion or a foam cushion. You should be looking for one of these cushions that have this, this matrixed breathable gel stuff. It really does make a difference. So that's one thing I think you can anticipate in advance when it comes to comfort. I think the second thing you can think about in advance is how hard is your office chair? If your office chair is really soft already, it's got a big cushy foam on it, you're going to be fine with a thinner cushion. Like here's a thinner one. This one's only 1 inch thick versus this one, which is closer to 2 inches thick. That's going to be fine if you're on a cushy, thicker cushion already. If you're on a hard seat, you're really going to want to go for a thicker one, like maybe this thick memory foam one, where it might actually raise you up a little bit, or this one. This is the Travel Mate. The other thing to think about, though, is that if you get a thick cushion, it might alter the ergonomics of the chair. So that's, I think, another factor when it comes to comfort is, do you need a boost? So I am someone who definitely didn't need a boost. In fact, I needed to make sure, preferably, it's going to be a really thin one so it doesn't raise me up and sort of mess up the ergonomics around my back. So I think really ask yourself, are you someone who's actually maybe a little bit too small for your chair today? If so, then getting a nice thick cushion and boosting yourself up a bit, I think is a really good idea. If you're really stretching the fit of your chair already, you're a bit tall, you don't have a special size, you're using a regular chair, be careful about getting a thick cushion because it might mess up the overall ergonomics of your chair. I think another factor, and I guess this is number 5 in my list, is noise. I know it might sound superficial, but some of these cushions, particularly these gel matrix one, the purple double was the worst offender on this. They make this weird grippy sound. So if you're someone who might be bothered about that, I think you can go ahead and rule out, for example, the purple double and the purple royal, or any of these very tall polymer cell membrane gel cushions, because they make this weird grippy sound, and I'm sure there are some people out there for whom that would really bother you. Personally, I would recommend trying to get over that and just choose the most comfortable cushion regardless of any noise it might make, but that is a factor you should be aware of. So before I close out, just a reminder, you'll find links in the description to learn more about the products featured in this video. If you do end up following one of those links and make a purchase, it's a really nice way to show your support. Helps out content creators like me. We make a small commission on those purchases. So very much appreciate if you do end up using those links. And with that, let's finish out the video. And then I think number 6 here, we should talk about price. These things can vary in price quite a bit. This guy is, I think, 130 bucks, maybe 150 delivered. This is the Strata Mesh. And you know, some of these knockoff sort of gel ones from Amazon are like 25, 30 bucks. So you might be tempted to, you know, really try to save a little on this item. It seems like, hey, what's the difference between the name brand and the knockoff? But this is not an item I would recommend trying to economize on. So if you're shopping for a cushion, I'm going to guess you're sitting on your office chair a lot and you're actually feeling a little bit uncomfortable. If that's the case, spending an extra 100 bucks even to get the most comfortable cushion for you is going to pay off. So if you use this cushion for 3 years, I did a quick math, 3 years, 8 hours a day. So, you know, I think that you being comfortable while you're working is worth that. If it's going to mean that you're happier, you're more productive, you know, your coworkers get along with you more, and you're more likely to get that raise or promotion because it's actually affecting your well-being at work, you should spring for the more expensive one in this case. That's not to say that the more expensive one is always better. I'm just saying if you do try on 2 or 3, I wouldn't be pinching your pennies and saying, you know, I like the purple royal better, but you know, this other one is 40 bucks less. So yeah, that's my overall guidance for you on how to think this through. I do have a lot of videos here where I review these cushions and my personal experience with them. Again, I think those might be insightful for you, but they're very personal to my experience, so take them with a grain of salt. But I will put some links to the cushions I would recommend trying, just based on your specific needs and what you want in terms of heat. If you might want one that's a little thicker to give you a boost, you'll find my picks down there, as well as links to my reviews of those picks here on YouTube. So I do hope you found this video useful, learned a lot nerding out over cushions the past month, and I just hope it can make your selection process a little easier. All right, take care.